Let's get this recording. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Bird Dogging Opportunities with Scott Travis. Today is Monday, June 23rd, 2014. Just like to thank all you guys for coming, spending some time with us here on the Bird Dogging call. We have these every Monday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Obviously, you're on, so you know that's the time. I try and post it as many places as I can. This is the fourth or fifth week that we've gone on it. I take it over for Ivan Overon, who's part of the C2C network, other group, the guys that I'm with. Um, Again, just thanks for showing up. This tonight, we're gonna kind of go over just showing me the deal. I'm gonna kind of recap a little bit of what we've been doing. First off, I see a lot of new people, which is great. There's a lot of people coming on. Excuse me. My name is Scott Travis, and that's me. I started into the real estate. I'm a licensed contractor. Started into real estate about 4 years ago, 5 years ago almost. Um, did the whole seminar tour. Did the finding out what it is, and as many opportunities as I could find in learning exactly what to do. I know that in my construction, in my construction background and contracting background, that you're always going to learn. There's always something new. There's always something available to you that you're absolutely can help you out in any way you can. And I'm here, and the C2C guys at Coast to Coast is here to try and partner up with you guys, help you along the way, help you get started in your real estate, or help you develop it even bigger and better. And that's what we're doing. So like I said, about 4 years ago I started into it, got stopped doing my construction and contracting swimming pools and landscaping. We still have a landscaping business, um, to go off on this venture of real estate, which has been up, down, and sideways. And I'm sure if any of you have been in it, it's been a wonderful road. um, uh, I heavily relied on wholesalers and bird dogging people. And when I was out with the guys, when they asked me to come on, that's one of the things that we could really. It sounds. Hold on, I'm just checking out here. Sounds like you're mad. If my lips aren't matching my movement, it's probably your internet speed. You'll kind of see me throughout the night, throughout this, kind of looking over. I've got a couple screens going. If you have any questions, please just type them in or raise your hand. If you don't mind being on the broadcast, if you raise your hand, I'll put you on, and you can ask your question live. That's the one thing too, is whenever, if I'm talking about something and you have a question, you want to ask it. um, you never can tell if someone else is going to have the exact same question, but might be too embarrassed or kind of shy to ask it. But it really does help, because I know that after these webinars, I get emails. What about this? Can you help me with this? And can you help me with that? And it seems as though uh, quite a few times it's the same question asked, just in a different way. So, I'm here to help you guys tonight, and anytime you need to. You can always get a hold of me at Scott, SCOTT, at the number two, CREIA.com. And that's Scott at C2CREIA.com. You'll see it on this webinar. It's on the bottom of each page, or on the bottom of each picture, that you can refer back to. And I'll kind of keep looking back. Sounds so far, it looks like we're okay. We haven't had any other issues going on here. Wow, a whole bunch of new people coming in. We got 20 some people, 30 people already. Great. Glad that you guys are joining me. Again, I can't thank you enough. Hopefully this is going to help you tonight. If it does, tell a friend, and let's get working together on it. So back to myself. We're just trying to develop some partnerships, and working with you and for you to either build your business, or help us get ours going also, working together with each other. Um, that Pete says I need to kind of get my face out there as much as I can. So that's me and my wife. We're trying to go on vacation at least 3 or 4 times a year. It's the real estate and the construction business has really benefited us towards doing that. Um, and there's great opportunities in real estate. There's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of steps you're going to take that you could really lose a lot. and we're here to try and help you to avoid some of those. Lord knows that we've it's not a bad thing if you make a mistake. It's just learning from your mistake. So I think that a lot of us over here have got a lot of experience in making the mistakes and not following our gut, you know. So with that, the past couple of weeks we've been going over what a deal is, how to find a deal, what a deal looks like. I'm going to try and I'm briefly going to get my screen over here. I'm going to switch this over here. This was last week's, um, finding the deal, finding the property, internet. I'm just going to be going over this real briefly. This is kind of what we went last week, and what I'm going to try and do at the beginning of each week is, if you weren't here last week, kind of go over a little bit of what we went last week, and then move on to this week's what I'd like to talk about. So finding the property, using all your aspects, or your avenues to find it: internet, realtor, the word of mouth, classified, insider, off market properties, the vacant homes, and how we could. This is what we went over last week on how we could find out the owner of the home, and different ways of going about doing that. Process of finding them, process of finding the vacant homes, homes that appear to be vacant. And like we said too, there's a lot of places that people have multiple homes, and they're only there a certain amount of time during the year, and perhaps maybe the gardener just they fired the gardener and forgot to get a new gardener, so that the weeds and the landscaping is awry. um, so just because the outside appearance, it doesn't necessarily mean that the house is for sale or is vacant. um, Best thing is drive neighborhoods, ask people, use word of mouth, and asking everybody you can. Postal workers, meter readers, the community guards. I know out here, I'm in Vegas, and we have a lot of gated communities. And when I was in my pool business, I would get to really know the community guards and the guard gate. Um, and they're the ones that are knowing who's moving out, um, who's going to be leaving, who's losing their house. So those are kind of your bird dogs amongst the bird dogs. If you can use them. Classified ads. We went over lock boxes, and I'll just briefly touch on this again. This is over here. The blue one is a super key, which only realtors usually have that. Realtors and brokers have that. And a lot of times on an REO home, you'll see the super key and these type of keys, these lock boxes over here, the old style, either a turn dial or the push button. And what it is the uh, hold on. What it is the older ones, they can get access. Let me back up. The blue ones are the ones that the super keys are the ones that the realtors and REO agents have. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll also put a secondary lockbox, which is the older style. They'll put a key on there for contractors or service people that can go in there. So that's kind of if you see a couple lock boxes on there, that might be a clue that the house is vacant. We have a question over here. I'm going to see. Um, Okay, thank you. Thanks, Rob. I do have Q&A at the end. I'm just kind of going through the beginning. It appears that I have missed a few lessons. Is there any recordings of the past webinar I can catch to get caught up? Absolutely. All of our past webinar is on C2C.com /webinars. You go on there, and it's a bird dogging opportunities with Scott Travis. I'm sorry. Um, and then what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to go back to Rob. Rob, what I'm doing is I'm going to go, if I see there's a question, I asked at the beginning, if you have any questions, I'll try and stop in the beginning, or stop so that we can go through it as we go along. Getting back to last week, who lives here? We went over this. County assessor is the best to find the current owner. Skip tracing, Google, you could find a lot of information. Phone book, I don't know how many people have their number listed. I don't even have a home phone. We all have cell phones. Neighbors are great for inside information about the house. And then we did kind of a thing. If you have really a lot of guts and you want to get an answer, just post a for sale sign by owner up there and put your phone number on there. See, I bet you're going to get the owner to at least call you. The other ways of going through is county assessor. getting through this, it'll show you exactly who owns the house, the previous owner and the current owner. And once again, we're just recapping from last week. What's next? Contacting the owner, get the information. So we kind of went through all that last week, so we can kind of get rid of that and jump on for this week. Everyone's coming in. I really appreciate you guys being here today. So get it started for this week. What we're going to go over is show me the deal. You've gone through driving the neighborhoods. You've gone through finding a property. You've got all the deals together. You've got all the information. Excuse me. You found a property. You found out who owns it. You have all the basic information of the property: bed, bath, square footage, just the minimal that you can go. You verified the comps. Now this is my one kind of a pet peeve, and it's whenever you talk to any real estate investor or any of the seminars or anything that you go through, I think the big thing is you have to have verifiable comps. Otherwise, you're starting with you don't know what you're starting with. You have a property. You have a property. You have all the basic information on the property, but you don't, and they're asking $200,000 for a property. You have no idea what that thing is worth without a comp, a comparable market price from what is sold in the last 90 days. You're pretty much going in blind, when you have a property, you don't know what it could sell for. You think, I mean, it looks like $1 million property, but a $1 million property in Vegas, and $1 million property in Laguna Hills in California or in Detroit or Florida is completely night and day difference. So you can't do apples to apples, state to state, city to city, block to block. I mean, it has to be, you have to know what you're getting into. That's kind of and I know that for some of you, I'm going to go real basic on this, and I apologize if I am, but that's what this is here for, is to help, new people coming along, or if there's questions that you have that you want to go a little bit deeper into, it's absolutely fine. I have no problem with doing that. But comps are the biggest thing that we need. We need to know what at the end result, what that product is going to be, what a good price for that product is. So now you're ready. Once you have all this information, you're ready to send the deal. And once again, anything that you come across that you have questions, and just in the 5 weeks I've had that I've been doing this, inevitably after the recording or after the show, there'll be 5 to 10 to 12, 15 emails that I'll get, and they'll ask the questions, or I'll get stuff sent. And I'm going to show you a couple of them that have been sent to me, and the problem with them, and the good, the bad, and the ugly about them. And we'll go over a couple of those. But anytime you have something, a question, or if you have a deal that you think that we might be interested in, it's Scott, SCOTT, at C2CREIA.com. And once again, I'll just point it out here. It's on the bottom of each one of these slides. So we've got the property. I'll back up again too. Right now we have teams working in Atlanta, the Boston area, the Northeast area. I personally have stuff in Florida. We have contacts in Florida, California, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, I believe, is where we have. So we are pretty much coast to coast, and that's what we like to do. What we're looking to do is just build it up a team of bird dogs that can find the deal, that maybe you are afraid to jump in, and you don't have the money to go do a purchase on your own. You don't have the people for the construction. You're really hesitant about hiring a contractor to go through that. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. That's kind of my background. Mine is, with Coast to Coast, my job duty is asset acquisition. So I need to find the properties. We've got Ivan Oberon. I don't know why I switched that up. Ivan Oberon. That he's out there, and he's on the paper side. So he does a lot of the contracts. Now, when I say he does the paper and I do the acquisitions, we both are interchangeable. It's just easier. The way we set it up is just easier, that it goes to one desk. We look at it and we pass it along. Otherwise, we'll be doing double work. So that's why it's kind of set up that way. It's a great relationship we've worked on. We've got a couple of deals going through. Once again, I'll go over them tonight that we've got going on right now, that we just closed on, and the permits just got approved, so we start demo today. So as you look at this picture, you would wonder if all those homes are for sale, or if the bank owns them, if they're ready to be torn down. That's one thing I didn't even think of, but while I'm talking about it, is I purchased a property that, unbeknownst to me, or the realtor just didn't tell me, is I purchased a property on one street. And as the house went, it was on a T. So I bought one of the houses on the corner, and then on the other opposite corner across from it, the house was fired. It was a fire damaged home. So I asked, when I was going to purchase the one property, I asked about the house across the street. What's going on with that house? Once again, use your mouth, talk to everybody. Just so happened I talked with my realtor, and she goes, "Well, that one's for sale also." So long story short, we closed escrow on both of them. And come to find out, this was at the end of the year, so it was December-ish, kind of right around Christmas. So we closed the house, I want to say about December 20th. I just kind of let it sit because of the holidays and getting everything going. So I figured, the beginning of the year, January 1st, 2nd, we'll start pushing the permits through and get everything done. Well, once again, like I said, unbeknownst to me, the house was was set up for a demo on January 3rd. So, you know, there's a lot of things that can come into effect. You have to keep your cool. You have to find out what you need to do next. We went right to the city. A general contractor buddy of mine, told him the issue I had. He had a good in with the city that we were working with. Actually, it was Las Vegas City, and we stopped the demo. The city had just decided that they're going to demo it, and the realtor, in her haste or whatever it was, overlooked the fact that there was a demo set up for it January. So, I think that's what I think, listening to us and being on this webinar, there's a lot more than just learning how to be a bird dog that you're going to learn about. That one was kind of scary. When you think that you just paid, I think we only paid $32,000 for the house, but if you lose $32,000, that's your profit from one house that you've already done. But we got it all situated. Everything turned out good. We redid the house, put it back up on the market. It sold, made our profit, and walked away from it. It was great. That's kind of one thing that was one of the first ones that I did, and I just love the firehouses. There's so much you can do with them. You change the whole structure of the house. It's really neat. That's one thing that I really, really enjoy to do. I'm looking over here just for questions before I go to the next one, because I'd like to get them going. Gil, and you guys also, if you type up a question, I'm just going to read it word for word. So please try not swear in it or anything. But I'm just gonna read it right out. What's the recommended square footage plus or minus to use for a comp? Well, perfect, Gil. Plus or minus. A lot of people use 100 square feet plus or minus. Like I know that Ivan just did his webinar last Thursday, and we're kind of right at 200 square feet. So if you got a 1,300 square feet, you go to 1,100 to 1,500. I don't like to go anything, square footage wise. 200 square feet, give or plus or minus, is really kind of where we're sticking with. Year built, we kind of stick in with 10 years. So if it's a 1970, you'll pull a comp, or you'll go between 1960 and 1980. But there's a big jump between a 1960 house and a 1980 house. Some of the codes are different. A lot of 1960 houses have single pane windows. The 80s, they started coming in with the double pane. And let me just say that I'm speaking mostly from the West Coast. We have done, like I said, we have properties on the East Coast and all throughout. But when I'm giving an example, I'm just trying to say, sticking with the West Coast that I have right now. I know on the East Coast, they've got, the lath and plaster on the inside. There's not a lot of that on the West Coast until you go into older LA. A couple of the places, older Santa Ana has some. So kind of know, the different styles of houses, across the states. So I hope that did for you. Um, Actually, Charles, this is it says, "Hi Pete. Just once again, this is Scott Travis with Bird Dogging Opportunities. Uh, Pete is the co-founder of Coast to Coast, and so is Ivan Oberon. I'm going to read it. What makes you decide what is a good single family rehab, remodel, or walk away? Hmm. What makes a good single family rehab? If there's money in it, that's the way I look at them. If there's money in it, once you've got your comps, once you've got your ARV, after repair value, um, if there's a decent days on market, if we don't have 200 days on market, once again you have to watch out for the East Coast because they have seasons. West Coast doesn't have a lot of seasons. It's either hot or it's cold. I mean, there's some rain. I don't know how many days of rain we have here in Vegas, but it's very few, so hopefully that does it. Wayne and Elizabeth, can you explain wholesaling properties? How is that done? This is bird dogging, and what I'm going to do is there's a lot of good ones. I'm going to try and skim through these to see if there's any questions on what we're on, so that we can kind of stick with it. But the website that we can go to, Charles, is C2CREIA.com/webinars, if that's what you're asking for. Because that's what appears under your picture. Not a problem. That's what appears. Um, yes, you have seasons there. Okay, focus here. Um, so now we found the property. I've given you an example of what can go wrong with the property. A lot of these look like they're probably vacant. One in the bottom right, we just actually, that kind of looks like the house that we just bought in Atlanta and closed on, and that's what it looks like what we're starting with. Show me the deal. So you found a property, you found out who owns it. I think we went back up. I went up where. Okay, you know who owns it. Private. Who owns the property? Is it a private property? Is it listed with the realtor? Is it a FSBO, for sale by owner? REO, real estate owned, foreclosure, bank owned? It really does not matter of any of those, who owns the property as far as we're concerned. It's as long as we have access to the person who's making the decisions on who could sell the property, and that's what we want. We want someone that we could sit in front of, give them an offer, and let them say yes or no to it. That's what we're dealing with right now. And the one that we just put an offer in on, they told us flat out, we want $525,000 for the house. We're not taking a penny under it. So I put an offer in at $423,780. Why? Just because I want to talk to them. I want to make sure that there's a physical person, that this is the person that can make the decision on what's going on. Offer was rejected, so we're now back in negotiation. What we want to do is just have some type of talk with the person who's in charge of it. So, you know, once again, who owns the property really doesn't matter. It's just, what we're asking for as a bird dog, as you to find the property, is to do that legwork, is to get the information that we need so that we can go move forward on closing a deal on the property. It's no good if we have a picture of the property, comps, and everything else, but you have no idea who owns it. If you just drove by it, got all the information off the internet, and left out the one big thing on finding out if it's for sale, if obviously if it's listed, if you're dealing with a realtor and the realtor gave it to you, you're going to know who owns the property. But I'm just talking about the other kind of the bandit ways that we talked about last week. So that's what we need to know: who owns it and what the deal is. So we move on to the next one. You have the basic information. This is what I'm gonna ask for, and I don't think anybody else is not going to ask for the exact same thing. If you plan on, whether it's wholesaling or bird dog, and I'll get into a little bit of the difference between a wholesale and a bird dog, what we're asking. Do we deal with both? Absolutely. Do we purchase properties from wholesalers and bird dogs? Absolutely. Like I said, we'll get into that, but the basic information that you need to send me, Scott at C2CREIA.com, if you have something, is the address, obviously, because if you don't have the address, you have no idea I have no idea what to look for. What city? You have to understand also, I'm in Vegas, but that doesn't mean that I don't buy property in Florida. On the phone, talking with the properties that I have in Florida today, talking on the phone with the contract that's doing the work in Atlanta today, kind of have to know what we're talking about. 1830 Williams in Atlanta or 1830 Williams in Florida. Square footage, real simple, and we went over on how you can go about finding out the square footage, doing a Google search, pulling it up by the county records, bedroom, bath. What we're looking for also, going back over this, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath to us is just as good as a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. If there's enough, if the property deems in that area that the comps, if you find a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but all the comps in the neighborhood are a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, as long as we have square footage and as long as there's enough square footage on the lot, and as long as there's enough money in the deal, we'll add a bed and a bathroom on. That's not a problem. There's no issue with that. So again, Gail, like you were saying, on the square footage for the comp is between we're looking at 200 square feet, plus or minus. Year built, that's kind of important. I never really thought of it as being as pertinent until we started going across the country. And I mean, in Boston, we had one that was built in 1901. So I mean, there's a lot of structure. It had a granite foundation. So there's a lot of different nuances when you're looking at a 100-year-old property, 150-year-old property. Lot size. This is where I come in back into the bed and bath. If we've got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on a 3,000 square foot lot, I mean, there's not a lot of room to add. But if we have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on a 10,000, 12,000 square foot lot, then there's a lot of room to add. So there would be no problem adding on square footage to that. Once again, I'm going over the basic information that I need you to send to me. Rehab needed. Now this, for those of you who are just starting, or those of you who don't know, as far as doing a rehab, this is going to be kind of subjective, and I'm perfectly fine with that. You could either say it's a light rehab, which means that it looks kind of good from the outside. You've gotten pictures on the inside. It maybe need paint and everything else. I'll just let you know, 9 times out of 10, I can almost say 10 times out of 10, whenever I've started a rehab, I've done complete. I've never done just a paint and carpet rehab. Even if it looks nice, I mean, I usually go down and get dirty and do a nice rehab, because I like, whenever I present a house or I have my realtor sell the house, I want them to be proud of showing it. I want it to be the first one that they want to show, and I want them to be excited to sell it. So on the rehab needed, when you send it to us, it could be a heavy rehab, which means that, man, it just looks like one of those in the picture. I mean, one of these would probably be an absolute heavy rehab. This one on the bottom, it may be a medium rehab. I mean, I don't know, cost wise, when you go medium, large, and small, it's just a price. That's what it is. The pictures are really going to help me out a ton. If there's a way that you can get pictures inside, outside, a street view, kind of what the neighborhood looks like. Now I am going to go on Google. I'm going to go, and once you give all this to me, I'm still going to do my own research. That's the due diligence. You make sure, I've got to make sure that I'm covered for my investors, for myself, for Coast to Coast, that we're doing the right thing. So what I want to say is, if all this is on here, this is 90% of the work. I still have the 10% to make sure that everything verifies out. So pictures, as many pictures as you can give. I mean, that's fine. My computer will hold them. As many as your camera will hold is fine with me. I have no problem looking at pictures. And the biggest thing when you send something is the comps. And I can't stress it enough. I'll say it 1,000 times. Comps are what's going to give you your ARV, after repair value. Otherwise, we don't know what to sell the property for. Excuse me. Like I said, I couldn't understand why Pete had water all the time, but boy, talking, your voice starts to get dry. So comps. There's many ways of getting the comps, and to be verified, so that we can make sure. Here's just a couple of different ways. Now, down here is the Zillow. now I say that kind of with tongue in cheek as far as a Zillow comp. They're usually, in my experience, they're usually not up to date, and they're usually off. But it gives you some type of uh, ballpark or something to start with. I mean, it's a lot better than having nothing and hoping you can get something. How did I say that? It's a lot better that you have something that we can go by rather than just pulling a number out of the air and just hopefully that we're getting it right. This one over here is a comparative market analysis. This is a great one. It shows the cumulative days on market. Cumulative days on market. There's a lot of times I'll kind of go through this. There's stutter here. I'll show you on this next one up here. Let me see if I can blow this one up. Hang on one second. Cumulative days on market is the total amount of days that this property has been on the market. And actually, this one, I'll show it up here. If you look up here, it says DOM, days on market, and then CDOM, cumulative days on market. So, and okay, here's the perfect example, 15 and 92, days on market. Well, this one was probably listed with a realtor for 60, 90 days, and they couldn't get any action on it. So they pulled the listing. Then they relisted it with someone else, and it's only been on with that one for 15 days. So with this person, they've had it on the market for 15 days, but overall cumulative, they've had it on the market for 92. So does that help? Yes, no, it does, but it could show that if this was like 192 and 15, then you'd know that property's been sitting there for quite a while, and the previous or the owner or the bank got tired of this realtor, or maybe they just didn't feel that they had a good match. They didn't feel like the realtor was doing what they needed, and once again, I'm not blaming the realtor. It just could be just didn't get along, whatever it is. So the days on market is pretty key also to when we're buying something. Now this particular one that we're looking at right here is an absolute beautiful comp for me. I love it. They're all sold. They're all residential. And actually, this is the property that we just put the offer in, and it was that the realtor said that they're not going to take anything under 525,000. So once again, at 422,350 or something like that. So this comp is saying they're all sold. They're all sold comps. All Laguna Hills area. List price, sale price. These are the prices that they went for. Cumulative days on market. They're all 3.2s. There's 3.2 in there, and actually that's one of the bigger sellers. So it might have been a recent rehab or something else. Year. There's the year. Everything. And realistically, if you're working with a realtor, or if you get in with the realtor, they're going to have all this at the touch of their fingers, and this is going to be absolutely wonderful. If you can get this is outstanding, and this is what we would totally prefer to have. But that's just what a beautiful comp looks like. Once again, Zillow is the I wouldn't say it's the best, and it isn't, because it doesn't work well. They're usually out of date, like I said, and they're not always right on. So jump this down. I see I have a couple questions since I've been talking here. From Charles, what do you look for in a multifamily as compared to a single family? Well, there's a lot that we look for different in a multifamily. Are we going to be rehabbing it and selling it to an investor so that they can put it in as a rental, put it in their portfolio to as rental income? That's kind of a big one. We're just really basically going over single family homes right now. I will definitely do a webinar on that. But for this purposes, we're trying to get go through the basics on doing doing bird dogging for the single family homes. But Charles, if you want to send me an email, I'll be more than happy to answer that one for you. That's not a problem. Scott at C2CREIA.com. I'll be more than happy to talk with you about that. How do we get verified comps to compare with the targeted property? I think Wayne and Elizabeth, thanks for the question. I just went over that. Verified comps, these are what we're going over right now. I have said the last 3 weeks, one of your best resources, and sometimes people like it and sometimes people don't. But I don't care if the property comes from a realtor. Actually, I was working with Lynn. She emailed me last week on a property, and this is the one that came from Laguna Hills. Just because it comes from a realtor or um, an REO agent, that's still bird dogging as far as I'm concerned. I'm a bird dog. I'm not asking you to put it under contract. To show us the deal. Let us get an opportunity to get into the deal. That's what we're looking for. We want to jump in there and have a chance at it. Talk with someone, you know. Here's a question from Rob Kepler. Scott, when you place a for sale by owner sign in the yard of a vacant property, do you have a responsible script for when the owner of the property calls you? Here's what I've done in the past. I've done it twice. To be honest, twice. Um, the script that I get is usually you'll usually get 5 or 6 people calling saying, "Yeah, I want to buy the house." It's usually that seventh, 10th call that you're going to get is someone that's going to be absolutely irate. Um, so that's what I said last week. You got to have some gumption and you got to have some big shoulders, because you quite possibly could get cussed out. And basically, I try and diffuse it right here. Say, "I'm so sorry. I couldn't get a hold of anybody that knew anything about this property. I was concerned and I was really interested in purchasing the property." Now, you know, you could make up a story. You could say it's a story. You could say it's a lie. You could say however you want to justify it. But you could either say that you have someone that lives in the neighborhood and you've noticed that this property hasn't been occupied, and you really want to live on that street. You could tell them that you're an investor, that you want to buy this property because this is a great market. I wouldn't pump up the market too great if he really wants to get out of it. There's your bargaining tool. You have to find out how much he wants to get out of it and what he's looking to make on the property. Um, so that's kind of the script that I would go by is, be prepared to be yelled at. So if you're afraid, then just be careful. Um, how can you evaluate a condemned property? I find in fair shape, just boarded up. What do you look for to decide a yes? On a Pictures and comps. I mean, a lot of times too, like I was saying, you could check with the city to see if there is a demolition set up for that property. Could be condemned. There could be some issues. Usually, if a property is condemned or if a property has an issue with the city, meaning that the city has placed liens on the property because of I want to say ugly house, but it's an eyesore. There's problem. They haven't paid their water bill. A lot of cities, you pay your water bill through the city, and the city can automatically put a lien on that property and hold the property. So try and find out as much information. The more information you can get from about that property, the better you are going to be handled to know what to do the next step. So, Charles, that's the best way. How can you evaluate a condemned property? I find in fair shape, just boarded up. The just boarded up a lot of times is just to keep the vandals out. There's a lot of times when you can go to a boarded up house that is absolutely beautiful on the inside. They just want to make sure that could be an REO agent. It could be a neighborhood that really doesn't have a lot of activity. You don't know. It could be a drug neighborhood, and I'm going on the limb on all this stuff. You never know. You just never know. Boarded up could mean that there was a fire in the house, and I've gone to houses that said that there was a house fire, and you can't tell anything, but the house is boarded up. Well, it was just there's mostly it blew out the windows, and there's a lot of smoke damage. So just because it's a fire property doesn't mean you're going to go in there and you're going to the walls are going to be down to 2x4s and they're going to be black. There's a few times that I've gone in where it's just soot. It's gotten into the air conditioning. Usually what happens when a fire is and the house is occupied, meaning that there's air circulation, everything going on. The smoke goes up into the air conditioning and just starts billowing the black smoke throughout all the house. Whether the fire started in the kitchen or the fire started in the back bathroom, it just starts billowing everything out. So, that's the way, that's how you can kind of start with the evaluation. So If you see a lot of those, Charles, again, contact me. I'll do what I can to help you. But I thank you for asking it on this webinar, because maybe there's other people out there that have the same issue, and they want to get involved in that, and that's perfect. It's wonderful. One more. Let me see. Comment from question. Okay, there you go. So that's what we've got. Boarded up houses don't necessarily mean that it's a crack house. Doesn't necessarily mean that the house has been completely vandalized. Doesn't mean anything. Boarded up houses, sometimes they're just boarding them up to protect them from all those bad things that can happen to them. So that's great. It almost is. It's almost better to drive by a fair house that's boarded up, that's in a neighborhood that's kind of bad, because maybe they're trying to save it from getting to that worst place, which is perfect, which is awesome. So you're ready to send the deal. I think that, and once again, I'm keep looking back and forth. If there's any questions, I'll try and answer. Or if you want to ask it on talk on the radio, talk on the webinar, just raise your hand and I'll look for you. So you're ready to send the deal. The best thing you can do, guys, is, like I said, if your husband or wife can read the deal and they don't know anything about real estate, that's the best way. I mean, make it easy to read, readable, understandable, and all the information. And once again, there's my email, scott@c2CREIA.com. It's very, very, it's key. If I can read it and save the time on trying to figure out what you're trying to tell me. Once again, if you send it to me, I will email you back. We'll talk about it. I'll call you if you leave a phone number. I have no problem with that. And I see, Lynn, you're on. I'm going to be bringing up our deal that we went through. I'm just looking over here. But if you leave a phone number, I'd be more than happy to talk to you on the phone. You could ask Lynn. I talked with her this week, and we're going on that Laguna Hills property in California. So let me jump onto my other screen here where I've got it. Let me move this. Bear with me a minute. I'm gonna pull up a couple of things that people have sent. Now, I want you to understand, I'm just showing these, and I love that everyone has sent me stuff. Now, remember, we've only been doing this 4 weeks now. This is the 5th week. So I'm just bringing these up to show you what is good, what is bad, and what can be worked on. There's no wrong or right way to send it. This is just the way I prefer if you would send it. So let me get into here and show you what we've got. As far as people sending me the emails, and it's perfect, because this actually helps me to teach what we're looking for, and to help us say yes to the deal. Like that was one of our webinars last week or so ago. Now, I'll go over here. Now, this is email that I've gotten. Now, don't mind the name or anybody that's on there. It's perfect. I love that this was sent over to us. It's perfect. Now, Dennis, and I know him real well. So this was sent over. It's a multiple listing ad. Says the list price. This has got everything on it. It's wonderful. The total rooms, the bed, the bathroom. A lot of times when you if you're going and looking in the multiple listing, and you have a realtor working for you, some of the keywords: sold as is, needs tender loving care, TLC, a handyman special. Those are all wonderful things. Needs work. This is good. Says the square footage. So this is just a listing at it. Then I get to the bottom, and the main thing I'm missing is comps. Now, can I go through and look up the comps on this? Yes. Is it going to be hard for me? No. The problem with it is once I get this one, then I have to spend the time to go through and look at the comps. Do I mind that? No. But how is it going to benefit you if you send this to me? I do all the work, and then you want me to pay you. That's what you're in this for, is to get money. So make it as a job. Make it as giving your boss, and I'm not a boss, I'm not anything like that, but giving the person that's going to be purchasing this all the information. Help us out. And Dennis is a good guy. I mean, he's a realtor, and he knows what I'm talking about so if he looks at this, um, this is all good. But the one main thing that we need is the comps. Kenneth, love this guy. Here's the same thing. Um, a listing, and I think this is from a wholesaler, which is absolutely fine. Super cheap, $32,000. We go this way. It's got the address, it's got the asking price, estimated repair values. Now, and I talked with him about this, and this was just a guess from the person who was selling it. So, if you're not experienced on bidding out, a total rehab, then $40,000 could be way under. I mean, we have no idea. We like to get someone out there. That's why I say when you're sending something light, medium, heavy, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still going to send someone out there to look at it. So the main things we want is the size of the house, the address, the square footage, and comps. So let's see if there's money in it. So far it looks like there's money in this one. They're asking $32,000, $40,000 for rehab, so we're at 72. The ARV after repair value is 145. Hot deal. 65% of ARV, which is a perfect number. If the number can be 65% of ARV, then that there's probably money into it. These are a list of comps at the bottom. Now, where they came from, I don't know, but these are December 2013. We're at 7 months old. That's quite a bit further than I want to go back as a comp. I'd try and find out something a little bit sooner than that. Don't really want to go back 7 months. I want to see if something happens more recent, and we can go once again. Because if you look at this, I mean, from December, just in a month, and I don't know the square footage on these ones. Also, looking at these, is it the same thing? Is it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever this one is? I don't know what it is. Is it same for same, or is this one down here a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and this one's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath? I mean, so we need to go, same for same or comp for comp as close as we can. And I just deleted that. Sorry about that. Here's a different one, and this is from a wholesaler that Kenneth sent over for sale. And I'm trying to go over these guys just so you can see the different ways that you're more than welcome to send them to me, however you want to. If it's going to be just a one line, I can't do anything with that. I need more information, pictures, comps, bed, bathroom, address, lot size, square footage, everything else. I got a question here from Charles again. Let me go through it. Do you accept a general contractor inspection report? Do I accept it? Absolutely. If you've got a general contractor that's given me a breakdown on what the repair is, perfect. I'd be more than happy, as long as I could talk to him and say that this is a valid bid, and if we decided to go with it, that this bid's going to be honored. Absolutely, have no problem with that one. Thanks, bud, for the question. So it gives all the information: 4-bedroom, 1-bath, repairs, needs full rehab. So he also sent the photo link, which is down here, which is pictures upon pictures of what it needs, so I can visually see what's going on with it. And if you look on here also, there's no estimate of repairs, which is fine. That I don't need an estimate repairs. I'd like to see the pictures, because in my mind, in doing this, and as many as we've done, I can kind of basically pick out what we need to do. But I'd also have a contractor go out there, talk with them, make sure that we the scope of work that we're going to do. So in essence, being a bird dog and sending the information, I'm not asking you to do everything. I'm just asking you to give us the nuts and bolts and everything that's going to make the deal. Give us the tools to make the deal happen, that we can go after the realtor, go after the person who owns the property, go after the person that we can make contact with to get on board, and ask those questions so that we could possibly buy the property. I think there's one more. This is from Lynn, and actually this is the one that I just put the offer in. It got rejected, which is absolutely fine, because if they can reject the offer, then that means that they can accept the offer. So we've established that this person has authorization from the owner, whoever they're dealing with, to make a decision on it. Now, as a realtor, you're obligated to present every offer to the other realtor who's representing that property. So as long as I can represent it to the proper realtor, the proper person, and they can say no, that means I've got a direct connection of the person who is directly responsible for that property, which is which is great. I don't care if they said no. I just wanted to know that I have the right person. So, and I have to say this: if everyone can learn and set up a an shoot property like this would be the most fantastic thing. And I'm just going to kind of go through these just to show you what has been sent over. Let it load up. Okay. Here's the first thing that was sent over. I don't expect it to be as extensive this. If you did this would make everything wonderful. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, year built, the square footage, assessor's data. So that means that Lynn went on to the assessor's page and found out the exact square footage from the assessor's page. Now, we'll go over that assessor's page. If the house is 2,100 square feet and they're advertising it as a 3,000 square foot house, but you find out from the assessor's data that it's a 2,100 square foot house, we've got an issue there. So, and I think I've gone over this a little bit, that means that they've probably done some unpermitted addition to the house, which I'm not afraid of, but I also am not going to make it where I'm not going to be paying the top dollar for that square footage. And they're also going to have to disclose that and say that this is a non-permitted addition. We're not dealing with that here, but I'm just kind of going through it as I think about it. Property sits at a large lot at the end of the street near freeway, but freeway noise, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Great information. More information. I'm fine with that. Lynn went in and took pictures, upstairs, downstairs, family room, bed and bathrooms, inside, outside. It's excellent. Then goes into a little bit and kind of Lynn did a great job, walked through this property and said, what looks like it needs to be done. All bathrooms and kitchen need to be remodeled. Suggest removing the non-permitted wall. There you go, non-permitted wall in a family room so the kitchen can flow. I mean, this is beautiful. This is me, this is Lynn saying, this is basically what it is. Lynn saying, I want you to get every possibility and have no questions when you go to make an offer on this house. And I mean, we talked about it. There's not really anything else I can ask about this property. On here, it says right away, total fixer, which is perfect. I love it. Asking price is $550, and the bank, Berkshire Hathaway, is the bank that owns it, stated they will not take less than $525. We already knew that. We don't care, but we got in contact with the person that we need to talk to. Comps. Went through and sent the comps with it. So, not only do we have a full breakdown of what's going on, but here's the comps, and I'm going to try and get this. I can't get this bigger, but this was basically the other picture that I pulled up. Cumulative days on market, bedrooms, bathrooms, year built. I mean, perfect. And the thing about this is this came directly from the realtor, so the realtor's doing the work for you. You can get the realtor to do a lot of the work if you want. That's basically, that's what she's there to do, or he's there to do, to help you out. Now she went, above and beyond this to this point. Projected budget. I mean, she went through and broke out the ROI, return on investment. Now these numbers, obviously, these are numbers that I can't work with. We can't work with this when we've got a return on investment at 6%, 7%, and we'll get more into those numbers if you want to. But this is just, she went above and beyond and went through it. So I already had a number that I was going to go after, because I usually back out my numbers. I usually start with what I'm going to sell the property for, and then back out how much money I want to make, quote unquote, want to make out of the property. What's the radius and distance and comp? I'm sorry, Charles, I got another question here from Charles. What is the radius of distance of comps you respect the most? Block, feet, miles. I love half mile. That's kind of my sweet spot. If it's a half a mile or closer, I will depend on those comps. I will fight to get those comps all day long. At a mile, I still love those comps too, but not as much as a half a mile. That's where I really, really, really like is the half a mile. So if you are going to go to doing the comps, stay within a mile is what I would say. A mile and a half, 2 miles out, boy, there's a big, I mean, you could probably do it from your home, from where you're at. If you go a mile away, the houses are going to be kind of similar, unless you live right on the line of, a big lot development change. But a half mile to a mile is really a great one. Charles, thanks for the question. So once again, it doesn't have to be this extensive and this beautiful. And I know that Lynn's on. I thank you for this. I would take 100 of these and go to bat to buy every one that we came in like this, as long as there was money in it. And that's that's what it is. Um, but this is what we're looking for, guys. We just need I go back to the basic information, and everything on that page that Lynn sent me is got all that on there. Also on the other two that I showed you, they had that, but not to the extent that the last one did. The comps that were verified, they're verified by a realtor. And the one property that we have in Atlanta, I kind of I have houses there. I have 3 properties there right now, and this is another one that we're working on. I just wasn't real comfortable with the comps that the one realtor was giving me, so I called another realtor and said, I'm an investor and I'm purchasing a house out here, and I'm looking, and I just told her, I said, I don't know who I'm going to list the property with, so to try and have her help me. I'm not asking her to do work for free. She did, but in the future, I know that if I ever have ever have a question, and she's helped me, I'm definitely going to give her a call and have her work with us. So if you don't feel comfortable with the comp that they give you, I will deal with that. Just get the basic information to us, because I'm still, once again, everything that you send me is going to be 90%. I'm still going to have my due diligence and what I have to do, that last 10%, because the last 10% is just as important as the 90%, but the 90% is the starting point for it. And that's exactly what we need. I'm checking my computer's going off over here. Yeah, the tighter the better, Charles. If that's it. Do you have a value, a BPO broker? Do you have a value? I'm thinking you're saying, if the broker price opinion would help me. A broker's price opinion is basically going to be doing the exact same thing that I'm asking for comps. They're going to be doing the comps, but what the broker's going to do is they're going to try and justify the price to help them. So a broker's broker's price opinion, BPO, quite possibly could have, they could go out 2 miles, because they're going to say, well, that's still a good comp. They can go out 2.5 miles and say, well, it's the same square footage, it's the same, style of home, but that's what we're going to do. Yes and no. So I'd really have to look at where they're pulling their comps from, as far as taking them, on their word, or taking them exactly what they're going to do. So, that's what we're looking for, guys. That's, the verified comps ready to go, and making things happen. I just want to say again, I thank you guys tonight for being on here. We're not ending it right now, but I had oh my goodness, I was gonna go over. Hey, hang on with me real quick, because I pulled up when I switched my computer around. There was questions that people have emailed me, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to go over those questions, just so you guys can, I've answered all these questions individually, but just in case these questions come up again, or if you guys have these same questions, here it is: condos and townhomes. Do you guys go with condos and townhomes? No. I have them have done them in the past. I'd still do them, but for this, we're really staying away from, for the simple reason of the homeowners association, and that's not a bad thing. If you live in a homeowners association, obviously that can be a good thing, but for this, we're just not dealing with those right now. Someone also asked, where can I find a list of properties in default? You could ask the realtor. You can do a lot of research on the internet of finding default homes. There's a ton. Here's the thing: there's a ton of information on. If you just start signing up for, go on Google, homes in foreclosure in your area. They'll send you lists of homes that are in foreclosure. The interweb, and that's what I call it. This thing's got everything on it. You can find it that way. Another question was fire damaged homes. Again, that's my sweet spot. I love fire damaged homes. Where can you find them? I was talking with Diane, and just so happened one of her family members was in the police department. Geez, you could find out drug houses and what houses just caught on fire by just talking with them. Drive in the neighborhood's the best way. Boarded up houses, like I said, just because it has it's a fire damaged home doesn't mean that it's going to be burned to the ground. So wholesale properties, wholesale properties. Don't know, quite remember. Wholesale properties. Here's the difference between a wholesaler and a bird dog in in my experience, and it might be a great explanation, um, but this is what I feel is a wholesaler is someone who gets a property, does all this information that you're doing, that I'm doing, that everyone's doing to buy a home. Then they put it in contract, meaning that they're taking the responsibility of making sure that those numbers are correct on their rehab, making sure there's enough money at the end of it, making sure that their comps are good, making sure everything. Once again, we're going to make sure of that also. But when I put it under contract, I know for sure what the end is. Now, a wholesaler is also going to have to number one, put it into contract and have it an assignable contract, meaning that they're going to close, but they can change the name on it at closing. So if ABC property, who's wholesaling it, is going to sell it to ANS properties, then at the closing, ABC is not going to sign for it. ANS, which is me, is going to sign for the property. Well, in that also, the wholesaler is going to have to put down the EMD, earnest money deposit. We're not asking for that. We're trying to help you so that you don't fall into the situation where maybe your numbers are off. Maybe there was a mistake. Maybe something happened. In that last 10% that I do, I find something. And I'm not saying that you couldn't find it, or I'm not saying that you're not able to find it. I'm just saying that it's kind of a safety net on the other end. Whereas a bird dog, what we're asking for is, hey, do all this front end information. We'll put it under contract. You will not get cut out of getting paid for finding the property. That's not what we're here to do. Or if I can say anything, that's the farthest thing from my mind. If I've done 100,000 when I was in contract and construction and swimming pools, I would do $100,000 contracts on a handshake. I know my handshake's good. I just have to worry about you. And worrying about you, I'm not worried about, because you're giving us all the information that we're looking for. So that's the thing. So that's the difference between a bird dog and a wholesaler. What is ARV? After repair value. That's the price that you're looking for. These are questions, again, that have been sent to me after a webinar. So I'm trying to answer them for you right here. What is ARV? After repair value. What is the price of that property that you're going to sell that property for? So that's an ARV. How much fix up or rehab? How much do you spend? The fix up and rehab that we go to, it could be $10,000 to $100,000. It just depends. It doesn't. There's no set number that we stick within. There's no set number that we stay on. If it needs something, then we give it to you. I mean, we give it to you. We fix it. And we're kind of winding down to the end. I'm just kind of going over these. Please raise your hand or ask a question. I'm going to get up to all of them, no matter what it takes. So I'm just going over previous questions that have been asked, sent to me by email. How much fixed rehab? Once again, doesn't matter. How much will I get paid? That's the big one. Everyone goes, well, how much am I going to get paid? Just depends on the property. We will definitely make a deal before we buy the property. We'll find out what you want from the property. What makes sense. I mean, obviously, if there's $20,000, at the end of, when we're looking at a deal and there's $20,000 at the end, it's going to be kind of hard to pay you $20,000 for finding that property. I mean, that's not, and conversely, if there's $200,000 at the end, it's going to be kind of hard to pay you $2,000. I mean, it's just not right. So that'll be all discussed right up front. And once we get something under contract. Do any cash lending backed by real estate? We don't do any cash lending at this time backed by real estate. In other words, if you need a loan from us, we don't loan at this point. We've got a great financial company that we work with, is More Financial, out of California. So if you need any information of that, please go to C2CREIA.com. They're on there. They're on the landing page. Great company. So I'm looking for, if you got a question, raise your hand. I don't see any hands, but I've got a couple more questions that were asked tonight. Phone is dying. Great webinar, brother. I'm out. Okay. Thanks, Kenneth. how much do you pay your bird dogs, Steve? That's the one. That's the one we just went over. It just depending on the deal, and what's out there, what's in the deal for us. So once again, I thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is how to contact me, C2CREIA.com or Scott at C2CREIA.com. I'm on Facebook. Please ask to friend me. I'll be more than happy to jump on. You could follow us what we're doing. I just really do appreciate it, and the one thing too is, guys, I mean, if you're just starting out, or if this is where you're going with it, you can't. Something that's helped me a lot is in this is to have a goal. If you don't have a goal, moving forward, you don't know where you're going. We've got Pete's got a 21-day challenge, and it just starts out by writing goals. And it's I've been a pretty headstrong and business-minded person and focused, but you spend that 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning of just writing your goals down and setting your day off on what you want to do and what you want to accomplish that day. It really does help you. It really does. It holds you accountable to what you're going to do. Plus, if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? Put a goal down to drive, like I said last week, put a goal down to drive a different way going home this week, and see if there's any vacant homes. I'm sure you've driven the same road. My car can drive itself. And if you just be aware of what's around you and see what's going on, I mean, I'm sure you're going to find some properties that are out there that geez, that are vacant that you didn't even know anything about. So, this week I just challenge you guys to just start writing your goals in the morning, and just watch how things change. Watch how things change. I'm going to do something. Lynn, I'm going to unmute you. Lynn, are you there?
Ah,
Are you there?
wait a minute.
Okay.
Are you there? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hey, I just wanted to bring you on and say thank you so much for getting that awesome email over to me and working on that one on Cousteau and Laguna Hills. I don't know if you know, but they did reject our offer, and the realtor's putting in another offer. We eliminated the termite report or termite clause in there, and I raised the price by about $10,000. So she's super great, and I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Oh, I haven't heard about the raising price to 10,000. Is that still on the table, or did that get it rejected too?
Don't know. We sent it over. I was just waiting for her to send me over a DocuSign copy so that I could sign it over and then
Oh,
get it out to him. So as soon as that happens, I just sent her a proof of funds letter, and we should be good. So I just want to keep you in the loop and let you know that I'm just let you know what exactly where we're stand with it.
okay. Okay. I
Okay,
hadn't heard that. I appreciate
not a
that.
problem, hon. Thank you, and thanks again so much.
Oh, that was fun.
It will be once we get something under contract, won't
Yeah.
it? Thanks so much, Lynn. Have a great night. Okay, perfect. I got a couple other ones. Do you work with REOs that have code violations? Yes. Have no problem with code violations. Once again, a code violation is just a price, it meaning that we have to pay something to get the code violation fixed. And if it works within our numbers and we can still make money on the deal, absolutely, why not? We'll just add that into our formula. Pay the fines. Code violation meaning they want money, a fine, just another word for it. So it's perfect. I've got a question from Gerald Johnson. I'm going to read that real quick. I'm a wholesaler. Can we assign a property to you that we have under contract? Absolutely. I have no problem. Like I said before, we work with wholesalers and bird dogs. This is pretty much trying to train you to what we're looking for as a bird dog. Send anything you have over to Scott, SCOTT, at the number 2CREIA.com, and I'll be more than happy to look at it. I'm obviously going to do my due diligence and just send me over all the information that's on there. Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, Mike Jensen. Have a good night, buddy. Um, how do I find the recorded webinars, Anna? You know what? If you guys go on to, let me pull it up for you just so I can show you. There we go. We go up here. You go to C2C My computer's going slow here quick. It's C2CREIA.com/webinars. And that should get you there. Don't know what's going on with this. I'm going to try and pull it up. Let me go show you the landing page that it's on. Go here. Open up. Here we go. Go up to the top here, Motivation Podcast. I believe that's actually. Go down to the old. Here's last week's right here. And tomorrow morning, today's will be on here. You just go up to here. Otherwise, you can go up to podcast. Bird Dogging Opportunities with Scott Travis. Right here. Here's all the past ones right there. Episode 4, Who Lives Here? That's what last week. Help Us Say Yes to Your Deal was the week before. Getting Started and the introduction to myself. So there's the past 4. Anna, if you just go on there, like I said, if you remember how I did it, just go to the C2CREIA, go up to podcasts, go back down to Bird Dogging Opportunities with Scott Travis, and you'll find all the past ones. And guys, with that, if there's no other questions, I'm going to look one more time. There's nobody has their hand up. If you have your hand up and you want to ask a question on the air, I would more than happy to do it. I'll wait a minute here. I just want to say thank you so much for all your guys' input. I'm really having a great time here. It's just fun. I look forward to working with many of you. And I've met quite a few of you. There's a lot of people that stay in contact. And like I said, friend me on Facebook, and you'll find out everything that's going on with us and what we're doing. And that's what we've got going on, guys. And I appreciate everything that you do. If you appreciate it, or if you got any information that was good for you this week, please be sure and sign up and go on to next week. And if it helped you, or if here's another thing too, is if you're kind of intimidated or shy to talk to people, go as a team. If you have someone that you work well with, or a friend of yours that wants to get into real estate, team up together. There's nothing wrong with that. And if that's the case, turn them on to this webinar, and hopefully I can help answer some questions, or get you not quite as fearful as going out there and asking these questions. And like I was telling Diane this week, which is someone that's up in Boston, this is a numbers game, guys. It's not going to be 1 for 1. You're not going to find a house and everything works out great and you're going to get it. It might happen, but the chances of it are it's not going to be like that. It's a numbers game. You have to get yourself out there and put in offers. That's what we're doing, is putting the offers in, but finding the properties, and it's not 2006, 2007 anymore, where there's a ton of property out there. So it's a little bit of work, which is not a big deal. It's not going to fall in your lap, and like I said too, deals are out there. It just depends on if you're going to be the one to find them. There's plenty of deals to be worked on. There's plenty of homes for sale. There's plenty of business out there. All these gurus wouldn't be, doing these seminars and everything else if there wasn't stuff out there. Obviously they have I think that there's an ulterior motive in that, but we won't get into that tonight. So, Lynn, I will mention the register class. There is a class, and I don't want to get too much into it, but if you're in Orange County, there is a class, because I was looking at it, and it's mostly for people who are looking to sell their house. Lynn, if you're in Orange County, on the Orange County Register, there's a class that's going on this Saturday, but it's mostly for people on what to do to sell your house, and what's going to help the realtors. And I think basically what it is it's kind of a fishing game that the realtors on that particular realty company is looking for new listings. So that's another way that they kind of go out there, Lynn. But I do appreciate it, you giving me that information. And if there's anything in your state that's going on that can help us, email me or give me, just let me know, and we'll be more than happy to bring it up. So, okay, I'm going to do one more last quick check. Nobody's hands are up, so nobody has any questions. I'll go through the last one. How do you find it? One more, Steve. I I lost the sound. How much do you pay your bird dogs? I'll go through that real quick. Depending on the deal, a house that's got $20,000 in equity that we can get out at the end, we can't pay you $20,000. And also on the other end, a house that's got $200,000 equity, we don't expect to pay you $5,000. So it's going to be a regular fee that we're going to work out between us before we even set the deal going, because we have to work that number into ours also. So if hopefully that answered it. And I'm not being sneaky. I'm not being, hiding behind anything. It just depends on the deal. And I can't, as a wholesaler, I'm sure that there's a wholesaler on here that he has a fee. Now, if that fee works into the end price and we can do it, then that's great. If it doesn't, then we won't be able to do it. So it's all a numbers game. It's like I said, there's deals out there, and as long as the numbers work for us, we'll be happy to do it. So, guys, just once again, I thank you for taking your time out tonight on Monday and staying with us. Appreciate everything that you guys are sending me so far. We're five weeks into it. It's been going great. I couldn't have asked for much better than this. Each week it's gone up. Tonight we had 5 more people than we had last week, which is, I'm super stoked about that. And I thank you so much. And I couldn't do it without you guys. So, with that, I'm going to sign off tonight and say thank you very much. And you guys go and have a great week. Write your goals down, put them down in the morning, and watch how things change for you. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.